Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Footy Express Show. Remember, this is a Capetonian football channel, and tonight we have our South African legend, Nasief Morris. Welcome, Nasief.
Thanks, Nigel. Thanks for having me here.
Good man. It's a privilege to have you on our show, man. I told you, I couldn't believe it that we're gonna have a South African legend. Hey, on our show, on the Footy Express Show. It's a big night for the Footy Express Show, right, Jonathan?
I'm the doormat for the show tonight. But yeah, it's an honor to have Nasief Morris on the show. Such an amazing career, insane career. So it's a real honor to have you on the show, Nasief.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, now all the viewers is watching, please subscribe to our channel. Please, just remember we must support each other. Please subscribe and also like all our social media platforms. And also, if you see Nasief on Facebook, please like his page and also like his academy. Is called the N5. But we will get there later in the show. So Nasief, we're gonna start with your career in the beginning as a youngster. How did it all start? Where did the football influence start as a youngster?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's somebody that obviously kind of introduced me to it, like or what. But it just kind of happened. You know, like how our generation, how we started playing football in the street, like with our friends and things like that. And then obviously maybe somebody spotted me and then suggested that I should join one of the clubs like in the area. And my father used to play football, but he wasn't professional. So he was always supporting me, always went with me wherever we had friendly games, whether it was Sunday league tournaments and things like that. He used to be with me. And only like at the later stage, my mom obviously started becoming more interested. And once I started playing pro, so she used to come to watch all our games. But I think that is obviously where it started. Played locally for a club called Beacon Valley FC, where I grew up. And one of my coaches in the team was playing for Santos at the time. And then obviously suggested I should go and try out there for the under-19 Bale team. And that's how I got there.
So you started, you can see Jonathan is wearing a Santos jersey. That was your first team that you played professionally.
Yeah.
How did that start? So your career started at the Bale tournament, if I heard correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like I said, like the guy was my coach at the Beacon Valley FC. He was currently a player of Santos, and obviously he used to tell me about the Bale tournament. It's the biggest tournament in Cape Town, also in South Africa. He wants me to come there and try out at Santos and things like that. So obviously he spoke to it was at that time Gavin Manuel and Nigel Crowe. Those were the two that was in charge of the Bale team at Santos. And I went there for a trial, and I obviously made it. And I think there wasn't too much of a convincing factor, like from those guys, that I'm actually good enough to play at that level. Because I was supposed to actually play under 16, because I was about to turn 16 at that time when I went to try out. So that would have been obviously for me to start in the under 17 and play Police first before I actually get to the Bale. But then I think we went to go and play in a tournament in Kraaifontein. It was like a weekend tournament, and one of the games I got man of the match from the host who ran the tournament. And I think that is where they actually realized like the talent that I have. And it came to the Bale, and I was playing every game, and actually played 4 Bale tournaments because, like I said, I was 16, so I played at 16, 17, 18, and 19. So 18 and 19 was when we won it, and my last year I got player of the tournament. But the first season at Santos, when I just started off there, I think we were playing in the Mitchells Plain in Westridge in that district, in that league.
Yeah.
And obviously, because of the PSL team, we used to play curtain races for the PSL team. and I think that is also where obviously I got more eyes on me. And
Yeah.
then I just got approached like one day, like from the manager from the PSL team, Mr. Majid, and then he said that Mr. Ali wants to see me. They want to sign me in the first team, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. And then obviously, because I was still young, I told my mom, and we arranged the meeting with Gulam to go and have a discussion. And he explained
Yeah.
everything, and he wanted to sign me to play in the first team, in the PSL team.
Now you and Jonathan's got something in common. I think Jonathan also played for Santos when he when he started. I think.
Uh,
Um, but one thing that you mentioned though, we always look past this though. We mentioned the Bell tournament. It's not on discussion, but because you're mentioning it, the Bell tournament is still happening today still
mm.
in our communities, if I'm correct, Nasief,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
yeah, but I
So
think for the last 2 years, obviously, it was now the first year it was cancelled, and then now
yeah,
because of COVID, the next year again. Yeah,
I'm
I think
sure it will
it's
probably
cancelled this
happen
year.
again. Yeah, Jonathan.
I think it's cancelled this year as well
yeah,
because of COVID.
Yeah, I'm sure it will probably happen again after this whole pandemic or the whole COVID has probably come down a bit. But just focus on that though. You telling me actually encouraging the youngsters that do not take these tournaments lightly because there might be a scout or any big club watching you, and that will be your chance. That I mean, that's what happened to you. So the viewers who's watching, any parents or any youngsters watching, do not take any tournaments lightly. Please, you will never know what your chance will be, and you will be the next Nasief Morris. Now, Nasief, I've got the teams, the list of teams that you played for.
yeah,
I just want to bring it up though. It's quite huge.
Yeah.
You had a big career. So, yeah. So in 1997, you started with Santos and you were there for 4 years.
yeah.
Yeah, and then that's where your European, your international career started after Santos. So tell me quickly, how did this club? I'm not sure you can pronounce this club. I'm not gonna try. Ik ga niet try om
No, it's
die naam.
easy. It's easy. It's Aris. You just say Aris. Like the Saloniki is the city that it's in. So a
That's
lot
in
of people
Greece.
just say Aris. Yeah, in Greece.
That's
Yeah.
in Greece, right? So how did this team? I mean, how did you sign for this one? For this Aris
Um,
Saloniki? Is that correct?
yeah. Well, it was at that time I never had an agent. There was like once or twice before while I was playing at Santos still in the PSL that there was one or two opportunities that arise. Like the one was for me to go to Germany. I think that was about when I was 18 years old, and then I was supposed to go, and then I think one day before I had to travel, my visa and everything was sorted, and I just changed my mind, and I told my mom I don't want to go anymore, and
Yeah.
everybody was like upset with me, like why you don't want to go and things like that. So I just said like I just feel I don't want to go, and then we continued, and then I think it was a game against Kaiser Chiefs. It was a live game on TV. Clive Barker was still the coach at Santos that time. We played in Joburg, and that time, I mean, Chiefs had Nomveti that was on fire with him at that time.
Oh, yeah,
And,
that was the great players. I mean,
yeah, and I think Jabu Pule was also in that team. We had big
sure.
players in that Chiefs team, and
Yeah.
we ended up we drew 0-0 with him, and I got man of the match in that game. And then
I think we're just breaking up, viewers. I do apologize for the breakup.
Mm.
Be patient. You can hear me, Nashif?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, Nasief. Okay, we just lost Nasief there. We do apologize, viewers, for the breakup there. Our signal, we probably will have him back. Obviously, we can see that Nasief had a very, very good career. We will have him back in a minute. Okay,
Yeah,
there we have Nasief back again. We do apologize, viewers, for a technical problem. Obviously, we are an internet-based show on YouTube, so we will have problems like this on YouTube. So we do apologize. Just be patient. And Nasief, so you can just
Yeah,
continue with that.
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so then I think I mentioned about the Chiefs game. And then once I think I was much younger, I was still playing in the PSL, and then I bumped into Mike McCabe once in after a
Yeah.
game against Manning Rangers in Durban, because he's based in Durban. And then he just introduced himself to me and said to me that that one day I will do something for big for you. And I didn't know who the guy was and stuff like that. And I asked around, and they just said like, no, he's a football agent and those kind of things. Then he sent the club Aris in Greece. They were looking for a centre back, and then me not being on Mike McCabe's books at that time yet, he took the video and sent that Chiefs game to Greece. And then the club came back to him and said that they interested in having a look at me. They wanted me to come over for a trial for a week or something like that. And Mike obviously approached Gulam and asked him if it's okay and things like that. He said, no, it's fine. And then they asked if I'm happy with it. I said, no, definitely. And I think that was probably, I was a bit more matured than the previous opportunity that I got. And I thought, like, I'm not going to let this slip by me now. And we went to Greece for that week. I ended up staying, I think, extra 2-3 days. They requested me to stay because they arranged a friendly game against Panathinaikos in Athens, like now. So I stayed with them. I think Mr. Ali came home with Mike McCabe. I was there alone. Traveled with the team to Athens. We had a friendly game against Panathinaikos. We drew, I think, 2-2. And after that game, the next day, I flew back to South Africa. Then 2 weeks later, I think they sent an email, or by that time they were contacting like that, requesting that they want me to come back. They want to sign me. But then I think they wanted to buy me outright from Santos at that time. But I think Mike and Gulam discussed, and they said, like, I think it was the best to first do a loan deal for the first season and then see how it goes, and then possibly we can extend after that. And that's how my career started there. Yeah.
Okay, so after Aris, you went to Panathinaikos. I always remember Panathinaikos in the Champions League, and you were fortunate of one of the South African players to play in the Champions League. But before we come to the Champions League, at Panathinaikos, you were a Greek Cup winner and also a league winner.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. I mean, how was that experience, though?
It was an amazing experience because, and also, I'll tell you afterwards what was the best part about it, because that was my first season when I ended up signing at Panathinaikos. We won the double, league and the cup. And that was the first time in 10 years that Panathinaikos won the league again. Because either before that was Olympiacos most of the time, and I think once or twice AEK Athens, they also won it, but Panathinaikos didn't win the league title for 10 years. So I ended up being in a group of a squad that was like that made history again at the club. Winning the title after 10 years and also winning the double. So it was an incredible experience, and also, like that, you see the atmosphere on this picture, how it is at
I want to discuss this though. The viewers, if you don't know Greek football, you think that the English Premier League or any other, if you talk about, I don't know how it is, but I won't play in this atmosphere. I would crap in my pants. As you can see, that is Greek football.
And I think just to go back, like my first experience in playing in my first official game in Greece was Aris against PAOK. Now, PAOK and Aris is the second biggest derby in Greece. The first one is Olympiacos and Panathinaikos. The second one is Aris and PAOK. And that was my first official game away in PAOK. And we drew 1.
Sure.
We scored first in that game. And that's the first time I've ever seen like fans throwing flares at each other and onto the field and things like that. So that was my first experience in my international career. I just turned 20.
Sure.
And that's playing crowd like that with like 30, 40,000 people.
Do you think it's important as you move to the right club at the right time? You had a group of players that, just gelled and you came in at the right time. Do you think that's important for a player to make the right move to the right team at the right time?
I don't think it's something that you can predict or that you will always get right. Like, sometimes things just end up happening for a reason. For example, if I look at, like I said, like now when I was 17 or 18, when I had the opportunity to go to Germany, I didn't want to go. And that probably wasn't the time for me. And when the opportunity came, I obviously took it and I went, and I became successful because of that. So it's all like what is set out for you, what God's plans are for you. Things will happen according to His plans, not yours. And that's what I believe. And the same thing, like when I went to Panathinaikos, again, winning the double in my first season with them. So those are all the things, like that, like I said, you can't predict it, but it's obviously also what you make of it when you get put in a situation like that. Because if I look at it, even my first season at Aris, if I didn't do what I did in that season, they would have never opted to buy me, and that was 6 months later. And we were only 6 months into the season. They already negotiated a new deal for me for the new season to buy me from Santos, and I have to come back. They even gave me a check of $30,000 at that time, just for me agreeing that I will come back and sign the new season. So that is the impression that I put on them after 6 months.
So that's so important. I agree with you. I think God sets out things, and we also have a responsibility. But our time is set out. What sort of things were you doing? Because from the age of 16, it seems like you were doing the right things. What sort of things made an impression with these people, and constantly was making an impression? What sort of things do you think?
I think it's obviously with me being like in love with football, and like making it my priority, and trying to always do the best that I could. Any opportunity that I get that I could play, I was playing. Like, I mean, before Santos, like at my junior club, I used to play 3 games per day. It would be under 14, under 17 directly after that, and then I would play in the first team as a goalkeeper. So that was what I used to do. So those are the kind of things like that I think makes you grow as a player, because I was always playing with players older than me. So I matured, I think, a bit more quicker than normally. And, having that that willingness that I want to achieve something, and also like, the not being fearful of you playing against grown-ups, adults, and, to be fearful that you're going to get kicked and those kind of things. Like, that was one of those things. I didn't have any fear. I would play against anybody at any time at that stage.
Do you think, and I do think, being fearless is such an important attribute to have. So whenever I played against you, it was so difficult to get past you. I have a picture in my mind when we played against each other in training, how tough it was. You're just so clever. Your intelligence is on the other level. And I think that has something to do with you being calm. So do you think, like, playing at a higher level and that fearlessness sort of helps you remain calm? Because, I mean, in pro football, modern football now, that's so needed, the intelligence. So is that a big factor?
Yeah, I think it does play a big role, like in your career, like, and going forward. Because, I mean, like nowadays, a lot of the people, they let their under 14s, for example, play in the under 16 league and those kind of things. It helps you grow a bit more. Like I said, you're fearless, because now you're coming up against guys that's bigger built than you, but competitive, like with them. You're not fearing anything, and that I think just makes you grow as well. And I think if you look back, like now also, I mean, like I said, like Sunday league football, those kind of things. Yes, for professional footballers, it's not the right thing to do. But when you do for your professional career, those are the kind of things, because you end up being street smart, and those are the things that puts you one step ahead of the others when you get to that level. Because I remember, like, like my first beginning at Santos when I started playing PSL. Then for me, after that, still being able to play in the Bell tournament because I was eligible to play because of my age, I felt that I was way above everybody else in that tournament.
Sure.
And even especially at the last 2 years when I was 18 and 19, I could feel that I'm not playing to my full potential because I don't have to, because I'm already one step ahead of everybody. And sometimes that's a bad thing, because you too composed and those kind of things, and that's the time when you actually make very big mistakes. And
but Nasief, don't you think there's a difference between being overconfident and you know that you're better than the others?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's a bad thing, because that could cause you actually making a very big mistake in the game that could cost your team the game. And that happened like later in my career, like once with Milano. It happened once or twice. Like, I mean, a ball came out of the air that was very high, and I controlled the ball dead on my foot, and we played. The game after that, exactly the same situation, and the ball bubbled off my foot. The guy played a 1-2 around me, and they ended up scoring, and we lost the game. So you see that there is very bad things that can happen, like if you're too overconfident.
Yeah, no, that happens in football. Look, you played against the best players in the world. As you can see, Nasief Morris played against Kaka of Real Madrid, AC Milan. He was one of the best footballers in the world. Played against. You played against. I can't get the picture of Thierry Henry. That's one of my favorite players, because we know me and Jonathan are Arsenal supporters. Because of that picture had a copyright on, so I couldn't get it. But you played against the best players in the world and playing in the Champions League. How did you feel when you know that song, that Champions League song? I'm not gonna sing it. You know that Champions League song when you step on the field and that song plays and you walk out in the field. The first time you played the Champions League, how did you feel?
Now, I think I will start off with my first game, even though I was on the bench, because there's an experience that I want to share. I'm a United fan. My first Champions League game was against in Old Trafford.
Cancel the show.
But I wasn't in the start. I was on the bench at that game, but I can still remember as if it was yesterday. I wasn't even focused on what's happening on the field. I used to admire Roy Keane when he was playing for United, and Roy Keane was sitting on the bench as well. I was watching him from our bench. I was watching him. I wasn't even focusing on what's going on in the game. So that experience, but obviously because it was different for me because I was sitting on the bench. But when I did get my opportunity, I think it was against Stuttgart or something like that, German team. Incredible feeling. I mean, until today, I can't explain the feeling that you have when that song is playing and they're shaking the ball on the halfway line. It's like you get goosebumps, those kind of things. No words, I think, can actually describe like that feeling when you're standing there and you're about to play in one of the biggest competitions in football.
You make Dennis's night. Big up Nasief is red. Are you still?
Dennis Allen said, "Big up Nasief." You mean to Arsenal red, not United. Ricardo Rasmus said, Nasief, you're a true legend. I mean, you played against the next picture. I mean, I'm sure the whole world used to love this guy here. You played Nasief. You played against the biggest footballers. Yeah. I'm gonna bring up a picture with you with someone that said something very very good about you. He was a Liverpool player, and he was also, I think, he played for Barcelona. You probably know who it is, but we're gonna bring up that picture though. But I agree with him. That's what everyone. You look when you played against Arsenal in the Champions League, Arsenal versus Panathinaikos. I was actually hoping that you would do well, even though also was because you're South African. I mean, we want you to do well.
No, exactly.
I was actually hoping that you would do it again. I can't remember what the score was though, but I know you played against Jumberg. You played against
Yeah.
Thierry Lee, all those players. I mean, Burkham. But now you play against these guys. Kaka. How was that though? Was it tough or was it easy?
That's a good question that Dennis Arends had also. How big a step up was it playing in Europe because it wasn't the Bale anymore? So how big a step,
Yeah,
how big
Santos.
of a step up was it to play in Europe?
Yeah. No, I think it was like I said like before, like it's also depends on you as an individual, like what you're gonna do with that opportunity that you got. So my thing was that I need to prove to these guys that I can play at that level, and that was my first step when I got to Aris, like for example, because I in the beginning I could see that I wasn't gonna be in the starting 11 because I was competing with an Austrian international player at that time, and funny enough, how it happened like was we ended up being in an international weekend. The national players was all away. We ended up the team went to Cyprus to play in a 3-team tournament. I ended up starting there, and I played out of my skin. And when we started the first league game, I actually booked myself a place in the starting 11, and the guy from Austria had to sit on the bench, and I was playing in the starting 11. So that is all what it's all about. You need to prove to them that you can play at that level and that you're actually good enough to be there. That's the reason why you're there, and that is how you earn the respect from your teammates and those kind of things. Because if you're not going to be able to perform, they're going to think like, what Mickey Mouse player is this that's coming to play in our country and things. So I had to prove them that I'm capable of being a part of this team and even playing higher. So then it takes us to, like you said, like now playing against the bigger players. I mean, I was experienced enough like playing under conditions like you see with the Greece in Greece, like how the fans are. So that is also something that helps you grow. So now you're going in and playing in Camp Nou, Bernabeu, those places like, and that you just put out of your mind. And for me, it's 11 against 11. My direct opponent, that's my competition for the day, and I need to make sure that I do my job. And that is what drives you and what motivates you and makes you become that player, or to play at that level against players like that.
Nah, that's a Mitchell's playing character where you're not gonna beat me. Nobody can beat me. But then I mean, that's such a valuable. People underestimate that grit that you had when you were playing five-a-side, when you were playing for Beacon Valley, when you were playing an age group up, or whether you were playing against Kaka and Ronaldinho, that you won't beat me. But I think you gave some good insights there. Opportunities are set out, but how do you use every opportunity to grow? You use that opportunity in Greece, the fans. How do you use that to grow? So when your next opportunity came, you were ready because things open up. But are you ready or aren't you? I mean, that is the big question. I mean, you are.
And to go back at that, if you look at like not only nowadays, but I mean in general with players, when things are not happening for them, what do? They use excuses. The coach don't like me. This is that. This is a problem. That is a problem. But they don't end up like taking initiative and saying like, maybe I need to work harder. Maybe I need to do extra. Maybe I need to do this and that. From myself, look in the mirror. What are you not doing, and what you need to do better to improve yourself? And that is what you need to do. Not like throw the blame game, because that's the easiest thing to do. You can say like, no, the coach doesn't like me. Like I said, like now I could see that I was never going to be in the starting 11 in that first season. But then I used that tournament as an opportunity to show this coach like, you actually can't overlook me. You need to put me in this team, and that is what it's all about.
So Nasief,
Sorry,
Yeah. So
Nigel.
Nasi, yeah. So you play with Leo Garcia.
There we go. Yeah.
Um, yeah. No, he said in an interview he said he was a fantastic midfielder or centre back. You I think you played right back as well. You were
Yeah.
all
When
round.
we played together, I played like everywhere. That yeah.
He said you could play in different positions, and I also saw him play as a right back. Even though he wasn't very tall, he was fantastic with his feet and well, a fantastic guy in the dressing room, a great player, a great player. I mean, coming from this player as another legend, and that's the way we see you, Nasif. That's why it's so fantastic for us to have you on our show because you are a South African legend, not a South African, but you are international, well-known player. And I mean, you played against the best players in the world. I mean, just one question though: how are that a player's attitude towards? I mean, other players. You playing versus. Now you're playing against Thierry Henry. Are they respected amongst each other, or are they, I'm gonna take you out now, I'm gonna make you small? How is it in that level though when it comes to like in the Champions League?
No, it's just like a level of like proving everybody that you are the best. You're gonna make sure that you show everybody like why you're actually playing at this level, and it's very competitive. Like I mean, there's no room for error, and I mean I can speak from experience. Like I mean, even looking at a team like Werder Bremen, for example, they're not the biggest team in Europe, but at that time when we played them, we got thrashed like 5-0 with 5-1 actually. I'm using that game as an example because I scored the one goal in that game. So, but I mean, like there's no room for error. Even Barcelona, for example, the one season in the Champions League, we drew the home game. We drew at home. It was 0-0. The second leg in Camp Nou, a total different experience. I still remember exactly what happened. They sent it. They had the ball for about 30 seconds. Not one of our players touched the ball. The ball was in the back
Sure.
of the net.
Sure.
After
Sure.
30 seconds in the start of the game, we were 1-0 down. So imagine like what's going through your
It's
mind, like, and we ended up
like
losing
Man
5.
City versus Arsenal.
Yeah, 30 seconds in the back of the net, 1-0 down.
Yeah, sorry, Jonathan, we had to use our team's name there, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was.
Theo,
Listen,
Theodore,
is
Theodore
yeah,
Heffer
yes,
says there's
our buddy.
there are not a lot of players in the country that reads the game as well as Nasief anymore. His reading of danger always stood out, a lesson for young defenders. And I absolutely agree with this. When Nigel said I must come and help on the show, that was something that stood out. Your intelligence. So how do players, I know it's a difficult question, man, but I think this is what also the show is about, trying to create
Improve, yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of platform where we can help. How do you, I know as a player, I only developed that sort of intelligence my last 4 years of the game. And I think that sort of kept me back. But how do you develop this intelligence? Can you develop it? Is it something that you have? What, I know it's a
You
difficult
just
question. I
tell him.
apologize.
I think it's a
I
very
just think it's
difficult.
a talent.
I think it's a very difficult question, and also I think if I have to give an answer for it, I think it's something that you have naturally, because if you look at players like a different scenario with players, for example, like Messi, the way he runs with the ball, not being able to lose the ball stuck to his foot like glue. You get different types of players. So that is his quality. Then I have my quality, and then you get other players with different quality. So I think it's something that you're actually born with, and it's a natural thing, an ability that you have to be able to do those things better than everybody else.
That's a great answer, because I think sometimes we, especially South African football, we look at dribblers and we think they are skillful, but your intelligence is a skill. A person being able to read the ball is a skill. So identifying that everybody has different talents and skills and trying to squeeze the most potential out of that person's talent or gift.
You know, it's something that you can try to kind of teach players how to do it, or maybe a little bit of it. Like for example, if I have to think like now for me as a defender, if you're gonna want me to do 20 step overs like you did, Jonathan, I mean, that's not my strength, for example, but I can try to do it, and I might get away with it once or twice like now. So it's things that you can try and implement, and if it's possible, it sticks. It sticks. If it doesn't, you know, then you just need to do to play to your strengths. If that's I think something that I can mention.
So Nasief, so you are also a Bafana player, okay? I also remember watching you in the Bafana games. So I'm just gonna bring up a picture. I mean, there's a lot of legends in here, but I just want to ask you one question. I remember this guy. He started in playing with us in the church league, and that was Ricardo Katzer. So you were playing for Bafana. How did it feel when they called you up for the first time playing for your country, though?
Now it was a big honor, and I think obviously for me, I think it took a little bit too long, but you know, eventually it got to that point where I did get my call up, and but I mean, I always look at things like I said, like things happen for a reason, and it has a time when it's supposed to happen. But I remember my first call up was just a training camp in London with Stuart Baxter when he just took over the team, and I think we had a friendly game against Australia, and that was my starting thing. I actually was on the bench my first game, and I came on as a substitute because one of Bradley Cornell, I think, got injured. So they shifted Tabang Molefe to the left back, and I went on at right back. And I actually played very well, and that became my position in the national team until the opportunity came for me to move into my natural position at centre back. So that's why, like I played everywhere. I even played left back once in the national team because they needed me to play there. And like I said, wherever you put me, because of the love of the game, and I want to.
And goalkeeper at under 16.
Okay, see that I'm mentioning that, Jonathan, you're actually bringing up one of my biggest, I think, moments in my career.
Yeah.
When I was playing at Santos, I was still in school, so we played I think I was went to try for the Western Province team, and obviously because Gavin Manuel was one of the selectors, it obviously put me in a good situation to actually make the team. But I ended up to I think the second last squad that was selected when they were trimming down the squad. I actually didn't make the squad. But then Gavin told me, come back again, but you come as a goalkeeper. I made the Western Province team as a reserve goalkeeper. We went to
what age group?
I won't lie. That was 17.
Wow.
16, yeah, my last year in school. We went to Bloemfontein for the interprovincial tournament. I played the whole tournament as a centre back. I got selected for the USASA team. Yeah. From that, we played in another tournament against another interprovincial tournament in Cape Town, and that's where they selected the national under-20 squad. Sure. And I played there as well, and that is how I got selected for the national under-20
Jonathan, Jonathan, so next time we play over 35 a game, we know we're going to put Nasief in the polls.
But I mean, that's so beautiful for youngsters. I think you were playing Bale, you were at the PSL team, you were making strides in your career and still having that humility to play as a goalkeeper. I think it's such an important lesson for kids. You don't know what is going to happen in your career. So for the love of the game, be prepared to do whatever it takes, because you don't know what's 100 meters down that line. So if you have to go in as a goalkeeper and end up as SA under-20 centre back, is that the picture? No, that's Bafana. That's Bafana.
That's Bafana.
But that's such valuable. That's such valuable advice. I think have the humility to do
No.
what's necessary for the love of
Yeah,
the
But
game.
definitely.
now, look, now Nasief, now I know if we're gonna play together, how I'm gonna get game at centre back is putting you in the poles. Obviously, we have a lot of friends in the football world. I'm going to mention a few names: Benny McCarthy, Stephen Pinar, Benny or Stephen Pinar or Ricardo Katza. If you do watching, we are watching the show. Please, we will love to have you on the Footy Express show. We will love to hear your experiences. How did you become a professional footballer? Don't be shy. Um, we would love to have you on the show. So, Nasif, you obviously know all these players. You're obviously still in contact with them,
Yeah. No,
right?
definitely. Yeah. No, we still in contact. I haven't spoken to Katsa in a while, but I mean, we're still in contact.
Hello.
With Benny, I saw him in Durban in December when he just got the job. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're still in
Munib
contact.
is there, right? Munib,
Yeah,
is
and
with him as
from
well.
Benny.
Yeah, no, they're doing quite well. In a PSL. I mean, I was quite sad though because I'm a Cape Town City supporter, and I actually was quite sad when Benny left Cape Town
Yeah,
City. But that's another story on its own. But
yeah,
you can see how young you guys were that time. I mean,
yeah.
Ek is altyd jong, moenie worry nie. It's like
No, I still
25.
feel, I still feel young. So that's
Ah,
that's the most important thing.
that's
That's the
that's
most important
that's yeah. That's important, yeah.
thing. Yeah. No, you're only as old as you feel. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, John,
What is
Ricardo
the
Rasmussen.
what is the biggest difference? Is the gap huge in going from you would probably I know we see it on TV, but it's definitely not the same thing when you're in the field, when you're training with the people all the time. When you is there a big jump from South African football or maybe South African football to European football? Is the jump very big?
I think I think it depends, like on, for example, the teams and things like that. Like if I have to use an example for maybe like the technique of players, the quality. If you look at, like, for example, in our South African football, if we our wingers or our fullbacks when they attacking, the crosses that they put in the box, for example, those are things that you can actually base it on. Because if you look in Europe, with the way players cross the ball, it's accurate. It's they put the ball in a place where it's supposed to be. And
Mm.
if you look at some of our players, like here, even without pressure, we end up like not even missing the first line of defense. So those kind of things. It's technical, tactically, it's much higher. And like I said, like now, I mean, if you as an individual, if you take an average player here and you take him to Europe and he's willing to actually work at those things, he can become the same like those players. That's why I always say it depends on you as an individual, what you're going to make of an opportunity that you get. But there is
That's
definitely a gap between European football and our football in South Africa.
that's
Just
So,
actually reading like now some comments as it goes like at the bottom, and I see Ricardo Erasmus is commenting a lot here at the bottom, and he was
so
one of the teammates actually at Santos. I think my first or second season in the Bale, he played with me.
Ricardo.
Yeah,
so Nasif, talk about before we're gonna come to your football academy. In five, I think number five was your number
yeah,
that you always had.
yeah,
Obviously, the N stands for Nasif, if I'm correct.
yes,
Before we're gonna come there though, our youngsters in our community. I mean, look, I never played professionally, but I was a coach. I worked with the youngsters in our community. But you still see the same things everywhere. It doesn't matter if you play um, Castle or wherever. Some players or some youngsters still have the same attitude, and that is the word called discipline. Um, I just want to hear from you though. What does it take to be a professional footballer? What advice can you give our youngsters out there?
Nigel is
become
big on discipline, my bro. Nigel is that.
I know.
So, but
No,
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 I
even Nasief,
Yeah, no,
even
look,
with the over 35 team, even with the over 35 team, you can see I'm wearing my tramway.
uh,
You must still have that discipline, man, because otherwise, you know, as a team, you
yeah,
must still have it.
no,
Doesn't matter.
but not at that level, man. That is social. That is social. So there you don't. You're gonna see the guys drinking a beer or something before, even after the
Yeah,
game.
but you
So
can't.
stop
Nasief,
that.
but they can't, the game start 8 o'clock, I could say 5 to 18.
Yeah, no, like okay. If I go on to that, like I mean, it's that's a very important factor. And I think if I look like with like with friends and those kind of things, like how you can easily get influenced. I remember like back in the day, like when I was a youngster, when I had friends, the friends I used to hang out with wasn't really into football, but they used to play sometimes. But then, like on weekends when they wanted to do something, and I had games, like I would say, like no, I'm gonna go and play and those kind of things. And they always used to tell me, "Ah, you eat soccer, you sleep soccer, you drink soccer." And then, like a few years later, when I was playing professional, and I told them, "Look now, because of eating, drinking, and sleeping football, this is what I became." And I mean, it's important like that you choose your friends correctly. And obviously the now with the gangsterism, drugs, those kind of things, like that's one of
Yeah,
the
no.
worst things, like, for you to associate with football. I mean, I was not involved with gangsters, but I mean, when I grew up in my area in Beacon Valley, we used to play football with the gangsters. But I mean, that was only because it was football. That's the only socializing that we did with those guys. But I mean, it was always only football. I always wanted to do to become a professional footballer since I was a kid. That was my dream, and I always made sure that I do whatever I needed to do, whether it's extra training or whether it's like spending all my time on a field, like after school and those kind of things, just to make sure that I try and improve myself and become better and achieve my goal at the end of the day. So, but I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
that and sacrifice. I think it's one of the biggest thing. I mean, sacrificing your time with your friends, those kind of things, because you want to become
Yeah, no.
a footballer.
Look, Sean Palmer said once on the show with me and Jonathan, he said, the youngsters out there, if they play, even if you can see they play in the leagues, they think they made it if they play in the Castle League. But one thing that Sean Palmer said, they really never made it.
Hmm.
And they're starting to lose respect with the other players around them. And you can see how they talk. They talk. You can hear them. And it's one thing I don't like is one player talking down on a player. And I remember when I played, we used to help each other our time. We now over 40 now, but times has really changed.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you agree though. When we
No,
played,
I totally agree with you, like 100%. Like, because that is one of the main factors, like the mentality of players nowadays. Nowadays, like you said, like now they think they've achieved, they've arrived, and stuff like that. My one experience as my first season as a coach at Ikapa, I had a youngster of age of 17 years old that was part of the team but never got an opportunity to play. So eventually, like while I was there, he was given an opportunity, and he did actually very well. And I'm talking about ABC Motsepe League. And I obviously praised him because that's obviously sometimes the right thing to do, like to kind of give the guy a bit more confidence and those kind of things, maybe going into the next game. And after that, like it just the guy's head just blew up. His attitude became totally different, those kind of things. And then one day I had a chat with the whole team, and I was sitting and talking, and I asked everybody like what they've achieved in their career, in their life even. And there was obviously one or two players that played PSL Santos at Santos. Um, what's his name? But anyway, some guys that played NFD and now playing ABC Motsepe. And then I left this guy for last. And I asked him, what have you achieved in your career? And he says to me, for being 17 years old and playing in the ABC Motsepe League, I said to him, if you call that an achievement, then I don't know. Because I said, when I was 16 years old, I played PSL in South Africa. So
Oh,
I mean, that is what I'm saying. Like, I agree with you 100%. One game ABC Motsepe, and they think they've arrived and they've achieved, and they haven't achieved absolutely nothing. I mean, the only time you actually achieve something is when you go out of this country and you actually compete against the rest of the world and show your talent there, and winning trophies and those kind of things. That is when you achieve something in your career, not by playing one game in the ABC Motsepe League. And that is the attitude that players nowadays have, because that is a level, like now, for example, where teams are kind of paying players, which is a non-professional league, but yet they're getting some stipend or something like that, and now they think they've arrived. I mean, if I look, like you mentioned earlier when we had our chat before the show start, what Samuel mentioned, his first salary, and if I look back at my first salary at Santos, I used to get 500 rand a month. That was my salary. Now you're laughing, but I mean that was
so since all that, Pamel, if you're watching the show, you got more, you got paid.
you got more than me.
More than Nasief. Because we were making fun of Shamil, and we were asking how did he pay his rent.
That's why I decided to mention it, because you said like he was getting that amount, and I know I got less than that, so that's the reason why I'm mentioning it. But also for the reason why I'm mentioning it is because for me it wasn't a factor of money. For me it was, I wanted to use this opportunity. My first, like I said, my first season 500. Second season was 1,000 rand. The third season was 1,500. Then the fourth season, when I actually became a regular in the team, I actually went to Mr. Ali and I said, I need to see you, and that is how I am. I mean, I will deal something directly. I won't beat around the bush. I said to him, I don't think that I deserve what I'm getting paid, because I've kind of proven myself. Like now, I'm a starting player in the PSL after like 3-4 years. So I think it's not fair with what I'm earning. So I obviously knew Mr. Ali, like, and how he does things. So I obviously gave him. He said to me like, "What do you think you should get?" So I was obviously opting for 5,000. So I said to him 6,000, because I knew he was going to negotiate and tell me like, okay, how about 5? And then I said, okay, now I'm happy with that. And that's how I got. That was my last contract at Santos, and then
was
to Europe after that.
That was a lot of money back in the days. I mean, if you come now with players, you meet players now, you ask them, look, you want to come play? Then they ask you, how much you gonna pay me?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Times have changed though. Times have really changed in football. I mean, if any viewers watching, Nasief Morris, when he was a youngster at Santos, he got paid 500 rand, guys. And now he's an international star and a Bafana legend in South Africa. So please, if you got any youngsters watching, please learn from this. Please take advice what you're saying.
I just wanna add on to that. You might get an excuse like from players like nowadays, like nobody's working at home and those kind of things. It's obviously something. But I mean, even that time, I mean, my mom was the sole provider for us. My father's job wasn't a stable job, so there wasn't really an income coming from there. So my mom was the only one that was actually looking after us with me and my sister. And it was difficult because most of the time when the boots that I had to go borrow from a friend of mine to be able to play on a weekend. So I mean, there's no excuse like when it comes to like nowadays and those days. There's nothing different. I mean, if like I said, like what if you actually want to achieve and want to become successful? It's not about the money in the beginning. It's about the opportunity. Once you get that opportunity, then it's in your hands. Now you need to prove to those people that I'm worth getting paid for doing what I'm doing, or earning an X amount and not getting peanuts, for example. So you need to prove to everybody else. And I think that is the problem. Like I said, like with nowadays, that's why I agree with you totally with the mentality of players in today's era. And and I said, like, I think they don't make them as they made them back in the days, like in our era.
I think you had I think I read a topic write up with that you had about why doesn't South African youngsters why we'll never make it in Europe. If I'm correct, Nasief. I think that was
Yeah,
about a
I
year or two
always,
ago.
if that topic comes up, like I'm always straight to the point when it comes to that, because I mean, as once my coaching career started, like also, that's the things that you end up noticing, that you have players that only wants to get paid, and that's it at the bottom line. And also, even while I was playing, like players were more focusing on what I'm gonna get and this and this, and I was trying to educate players, like for example, and tell them like, if you have a salary that you're getting, and there's a bonus structure. I said, don't plan your month, your end of your month according to your bonus. I said that is a bonus. If you do get that, put it away somewhere where you can't touch it for the next few years, because a rainy day will come along, and then you have something that is hidden away or something like that. But now already you're planning. We're playing 4 games in this month. That's an extra 4,000 rand. Now you end up losing all 4 games, and then you don't have the 4,000 rand. That's why it's called a bonus. So don't plan your life ahead of the time, and like planning with what you're gonna earn with the bonus included. Though that is a bonus, so that means put it away somewhere where you might need it one day on a rainy day.
I mean, Jonathan's got a few questions with you with your academy in five. I know
Yeah,
Jonathan has a lot to ask you.
Now, do you want to tell us a bit more about your academy and what you do?
Yeah. Now, obviously, I started it because I obviously thought about this whole thing about about the mentality of kids, like trying to, if you can tweak them at that age in time, get their mentality right, so when they get to a teenager age, that they don't have the mentality that our players nowadays have. And also obviously trying to give back to the community and giving back what I've learned, like over my career. um, and Also, I think the main thing is like, I don't have a facility of my own, so that is something that I'm working on. I approached the school in Mitchell's Plain, because I thought, what better place to do it from where I come from,
Yeah.
and hopefully set up my facilities there, and giving those players also an opportunity, and also trying to implement also schools football, because I think where we lack a lot
Oh
with our
yes,
talent,
I agree.
and not being able to produce talent like we did in those years, because that was one of the main factors. Like I explained to you guys earlier, with me making the Western Province team, how I made the National Province team, and from there getting selected into the South African national under 20 team. So that was the stages that we used to go through, playing for your school, playing for the interprovincial tournaments, then getting selected for the national team, and then that is the stages and steps that we used to go through. And there's no more steps like that nowadays. It's just like whatever tournaments they are, you get scouted from there, and that's the only opportunities that you get. So imagine how many talented players it's being overlooked, because not getting that opportunity to be seen at that stage.
Yeah, no, we Jonathan is quite busy in the local front of our football. I mean, we got South Africans, young South Africans that is playing in the States. We will have them on the show, I think probably Sunday, and they will obviously tell us more about their experience playing in college football. I mean, I think Jonathan, can you remember we had a discussion where we have over 150 South Africans playing overseas.
Yeah, playing in American League. And I mean, it is, I think, our school structures, this, what better structure than to go through school soccer? But I mean, that's also not apart, but fallen by the wayside. But I mean, it's an amazing structure
Yeah.
to try and get football growing again and
Yeah.
progressing it.
No,
I mean,
and
now
just
if you
to add on to Jonathan's question, like on the N5, obviously, like now things is obviously on hold because of COVID and those kind of things, and hopefully I can get a positive answer, like from the school, and being able to have my own facility. But obviously that is not where it stops. Like, I even have bigger ambitions for that, because then my next stage is like getting a team together between the ages of 16 and 18 years old, and firstly working with them, for a long period of time to get
Mm.
them to a standard like which I think that they can actually compete
Mm.
with clubs in Europe. I've already contacted the people that I know in Greece and Cyprus and a few other places that I asked them what can they do for me, and they said like they can sort out accommodation, meals, transport. So we just need to book the flights from here. So that is also for me trying to get an opportunity for these guys like now, and obviously hopefully get to a stage where if I do get like maybe sponsors or donors, that we can actually cover everything for the players. So the players doesn't have to like do what they do nowadays, have to have fundraising and those kind of things, and
Mm.
parents under pressure to try and raise funds for them.
Yeah.
I want to be in that situation where we can do it for them, and then grant them that opportunity, and then put it in their hands, like I said, like when they get that opportunity, and then show us like what you can do if you're going to grab it with both hands, or because I mean you're getting it on the silver platter, and
Mm.
those that is my next phase. Like obviously after that, but once that can only happen once I have my facility sorted,
Yeah.
and then I'll go into that stage, and hopefully, obviously after the pandemic, when things are more relaxed and. That's yeah what my plans are further for N5 Foundation.
Brilliant. All the best with that.
Yeah, thanks.
Can I go ahead, Jonathan? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mm.
Now, what I'm saying now, if look, if you have any clinics going there, I'm welcome. You can always give me a call, message me. I will be there. It's not about the income, whatever. Me
Yeah,
and Jonathan, whatever. There's a lot of guys who's passionate about the football, passionate about the youngsters. Just give us a call. We will be there. We will help you. We will promote the N5 as well. I think that is what our show is all about. Let us change the community. Let us change
mm,
the youngsters in our community, so they can also be an upcoming star. But before they
Yeah.
can be a star, they must change their mindset and be humble. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
Let's first
Mm.
change your
yeah,
mindset, be humble, and
yeah.
help your mom. Kan maar iets nie kom.
Ah, but yeah.
Ja, kan maar iets in jou huis gewoon voor jy gepreek, because that's where it starts. First
Yeah, no,
respect your
you
and
definitely,
then you will respect your coach.
and if I have to add on to that, like for example, like and uh, that's also a very important factor is your parents, but obviously mostly your mother, but I mean both parents, and
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
once you keep your parents happy, you will always be happy, and you will see things
Yes.
will happen for you in your life. I mean, I remember my mom always used to brag about it, like when she used to meet her friends that she used to work with, like maybe after that, then she used to say like, no. When I was young, like I used to tell her that one day I'll become a pro footballer and I'll buy everything her heart desires and those kind of things. And I mean, I ended up doing that all my life. I'm still doing everything for her, and because that is at the end of the day, that's your goal. Because without that, you will really not be successful. I mean, that's why I say that is one of the most important factors. Like, and just on top of that, like with what you mentioned, like now about helping me out with the N5 and things like that, that is also one of the key things that I want to develop, which is also to create jobs for ex pros, for example.
Right.
Like you look at like in Mitchell's Plain, there's so many ex pros that are not
Absolutely.
doing anything at the moment. So if you
Absolutely.
can have an opportunity like that, you can tell the guy you can come and coach a team like twice a week or something like that. There's something like for you, like and those kind of things, and that is also one of the reasons why I want to do this, because it's first for the kids and also trying to create an opportunity for even if it's a small income, but something like for the guys that don't have anything to do after football.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not an ex-pro though, but what is my
Yeah,
expertise?
you're gonna do it for free, now. You're gonna do it for free, so it's
Ja, ja, je klaar gezien, klaar gezien. Is that about the income?
Ik kan nog altijd de game druk.
Yeah, but thank you, Nasief.
no, thanks.
It was a
You
nice
guys for having
discussion.
me.
Hopefully we can have you and Sean Palmer and Himpo on one show.
Yeah, no, we can do that. I saw Bala posted something there at the bottom, like, and I mean, like, it's all people that I worked with that knows me as a person and also as a footballer. I mean, even like looking at that, the comment that Luis Garcia made about me. I'm
Yeah.
still in contact with him. I have him on Facebook, Instagram. I have his. We chat on WhatsApp sometimes now and then. Obviously, he's a busy guy, so. But I mean, now and then I'll drop him a message. Like I think I
I'm
posted
gonna,
on my
I'm gonna put
on
you on your place. I'm gonna put you on your place,
Nah,
Nasief. Do you think you
don't
can
put
get
him
him on the show?
what?
Do you think you can get him on the show, on the Footy Express show?
Nasief, don't answer that now. Don't answer that
try.
now. Don't answer
I'm
it.
gonna try. I can't promise anything. You know how
I'm
busy
joking.
you look
I'm
at.
joking.
He's the ambassador at Liverpool. He travels around and those kind of things. But I mean, just looking at like I mean his comment. Like I mean, I posted I think a jersey of him on my Instagram I think once, and I asked him like if he still has mine because that was before we were teammates. That was when me playing for Panathinaikos against Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Cup, and we exchanged jerseys. And I still have his. He still has my jersey from then. We ended up becoming teammates at Racing Santander in Spain. Very, very, very nice guy. Exactly what he says about me, I can say exactly the same about him. And I mean, his record and career speaks for itself. It got to the next stage where I ended up leaving Spain and went to Cyprus. He ended up signing for Panathinaikos for one season. He rented my house in Greece at that time. So that's why I say like we had a good relationship. We still in touch, but not on a regular basis. But we still have
Okay.
that contact.
Just one more question before we go, Nasief. Do you have any Arsenal players' jerseys that you swapped in that game against
I
Panathinaikos?
Yes, I actually, but that's actually a sad story that happened to it. I have Ashley Cole
Oh,
jersey of
big player, big player.
Arsenal, and
Yeah.
somebody somehow stole that jersey.
Yes.
So that
Listen, God bless that person. If you know, if you're watching the show, you know who you are. God bless you. That's all we can say.
yeah, and
Okay,
then
guys.
Thierry Henry
Yeah,
is one I had from Barca. So I
sure.
friends with him when he was at Barca. Yeah.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's heavy. But anyway, thank you very much, Nasief and Jonathan as well, our host on the Express show. It's a privilege to have you, Nasief. I mean, you've been you are a legend, and you are a great guy. I met you personally at Tramway. You gave me a trophy, and even though it wasn't mine, but yeah, I took it for someone else. But yeah, we need to chat more about things about your M5 as well.
Yeah.
Remember, we're always there to help. Let's help each other. Let's help each
Yeah,
other, especially
definitely.
with the whole COVID happening.
Yeah.
Let's help each other. Whatever we want to do is not always about. Was not sê nie man. That I attitude. Was that lief vir die game.
Yeah.
Just love the game. And that's why we're doing the show. People ask me, are we getting paid? No, we love this game. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And viewers, if you want to come on the show and you're any supporter and even played any league, we don't need a professional player to be on our show. If you can encourage someone, any youngster, maybe you were a player, maybe over 35 already, and you want to encourage a youngster, you're welcome to come on our show. You have any ideas to help the community, please let us know. You're welcome to come on the show. Any guys that's got businesses, contact us, help the academies, help N5. We need your help. Okay, let's help each other in our community and in our football. Jonathan, you have anything to say, Nasief, before we go? Last thing. You got me 1 minute. 1 minute.
Now I'm good. Again, thanks for the invite, for having me here, and I'm glad. Like I mean, at least I see with the comments again with Bala commenting there. Like, and also I'm hoping that everybody else that's watching, that from what I've said today, it's good info and something positive, and that that can possibly encourage and help a lot of the players and also make a difference to somebody's life, even if it's just one person. Job well done. So it's not about credit and what we want to achieve, get by what we're sharing. It's just for us, like for you guys, to improve and to become the best that you can be, and possibly having the same career that I had, and even better than mine, for example, going forward for the kids. So, like I said, I'm hoping that it made a difference to somebody, and that the guys are at least listening and learning from this talk that we had. And again, thanks for having me here.
I
And
get
sharing.
I get a lot of comments and people saying that the show is helping their kids, the show is helping parents. So I agree with Theodore Hemper that says it's great insight for upcoming players. Listen and learn. Definitely, that's what the show is about. For just to provide insight, provide knowledge, education to help each other. And the second thing I want to say is from Alistair Holland, Sisa, Nigel.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Guys, if you
Thank
viewers,
you.
I just want a last thing. Theodore Himper, you also got a academy called Theo Himper. I'm not sure that I've forgotten it. I do apologize.
Consultancies.
There we go. Theo Himper Consultancy. So, guys, support. Tell your parents, please. Call Nasief, call Theo. They will make your players, your kids, professional footballers. I promise you. These guys are
Big
amazing.
promise. But they can they'll definitely assist you and point you in the right direction. Definitely.
Thank you very much, viewers. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Like we said, if you're welcome to come on the show, and we are welcome to chat with you. If you are Arsenal supporter, United supporter, even Crystal Palace supporter, even a West Ham supporter. We had a West Ham guy on here. Even if you're a Brighton supporter, we don't care. We love to have you on our show. If you're a Kaiser Chiefs supporter, Cape Town City, please come on our show. If you're a women's football player, please come on our show. We love to have everyone to be on the Foot Express show. Ons wil vir julle famous maak. Thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful week further, okay?
Thank you, Nigel. Thanks, Nasief.
Thanks, Nigel. Thanks, Donovan.
Okay. Bye.
Sure. Bye.